Good morning, dear students. Let us come back to the topic of oral contraceptive pills once more. So, let us start with a question or rather a clinical case study. A female aged 43 years consults a family physician for complaints of mood alterations, and it is also associated with sleep disturbances, hot flushes, fatigue, uh, pain in the bones, vaginal dryness and itching. She has a history of menstrual irregularities and hormonal disturbances. Now, it has been happening for last 8 years. She underwent bilateral oophorectomy and hysterectomy 1 year back. She is on conservative symptomatic treatment for the past 1 year for her complaints. And this type of medications are not going to give her any kind of relief. So, how do you explain her symptoms and what are the treatment options which are available? Now, this is not directly associated with the topic of oral contraceptive pills, but if you go through the topic, the subject properly, you can easily find out the answers because there is no uterus. So, I mean, the estrogen is not there. So, you can relate with that. I mean, obviously the patient is having menopause, early menopause, and this uterus and ovaries are not there. So, if you correlate all these things, you can find out the answers of this question. Now, the oral contraceptive pills are basically of two types: the combination of estrogen and progesterone, and continuous progesterone therapy without co-administration of estrogen. So, as I said, there are two types: the one containing estrogen and progesterone both, the other one is only having progesterone. The combination agents are further divided into monophasic forms, that means fixed dosage of the hormones during the cycle, and biphasic and triphasic forms, that means with variations of dosage of either or both the hormones once or twice during the cycle. So, it's all about the combination agents, and these are available in two type of package form. One containing 28 tablets, that means it has 21 day it has 21 tablets in that pack, and the last 7 tablets contain a placebo, and they are taken serially for 28 days, and the other package is basically containing only 21 tablets. In case of 21 day pack, one tablet is taken each for 21 days without a break of 7 days at the end of the cycle. I mean, with a break of 7 days at the end of the cycle. In both the cases, one tablet is taken starting on day 5 of menstrual bleeding and continued for 21 days or 28 days as the case may be. So, withdrawal bleeding occurs in both the cases at the end of the 21 day active medication, and effectiveness of the combined oral contraceptive pills appears to be similar whether the active pills are taken continuously for prolonged periods of time or if they are taken for 21 active days and 7 days as placebo. We have already discussed about the oral contraceptive pills containing both estrogen and progesterone, whereas now we are just going to tell you something about the progesterone only oral contraceptive pills. It is currently available in the name of mini pills. It includes norethindrone containing around 0.35 milligram of norethindrone in each tablet, and norgestrel, each pill containing 0.075 milligram of the drug. They are only slightly non-efficacious than the combination pills. They are taken daily without interruption, and with this we can avoid the different adverse drug reactions of estrogen. But estrogen is nowadays given in very low dose, so the chance of having adverse drug reactions are lesser even in case of combination pills. Lactating female are good candidates for these mini pills or this progesterone only oral contraceptive pills, And for better efficacy, progestin only contraceptive tablets must be taken at the same time each day. If a pill is taken more than 3 hours late, a backup method of contraception should be used for at least the next 48 hours. There is another type of pill which is called the emergency pill, which is also known as postcoital contraception or emergency contraception. It has been found to reduce the rates of unwanted pregnancy after unprotected sexual intercourse to prevent accidental pregnancy with no significant adverse drug reactions. It can prevent nearly 75% of the unwanted pregnancies. This is called morning after contraception. When treatment is begun within 72 hours, the success rate is almost 99%. The hormones are administered with antiemetics, as 30 to 40% of female receiving the drugs are having nausea and vomiting. The progesterone antagonist is mifepristone and is also an effective agent used for prevention of postcoital contraception. One method of using the emergency postcoital pill is to take 2 tablets of levonorgestrel around 12 hours apart, and the first one taken any time before 72 hours after unprotected sexual intercourse, and the second one 12 hours later. The other method is to give a combined pill consisting of 100 microgram of ethinyl estradiol and 0.5 milligram of levonorgestrel in 2 doses given 12 hours apart. Some of the commonly available and used oral contraceptive preparations are showing in the next slide. I'm sorry, it will be shown in the this slide. So these are the common brands which are given to prevent accidental pregnancy. Now beside this, there are different types of other preparations which are the future of contraceptions. One is the injectable contraceptives. It's the most common injectable hormonal contraceptive is a depot preparation of medroxyprogesterone acetate, which is administered deep intramuscularly in doses of 150 milligram once in 3 months. So patient compliance is going to be good if the mechanism of action is almost similar to oral progesterone preparations, and its success rate is pretty high, 99.7%. So if it's giving a coverage for 3 months, patient compliance is definitely going to be good, but it's costlier. Subdermal implants, the Norplant implantation, this is the method of implanting 6 thin flexible capsules made of a soft rubber like material filled with levonorgestrel just under the skin of a upper arm of a female in a minor surgical procedure. So each of these Norplant capsules in 3 to 4 millimeter long and or it's around 2 to 4 millimeter in thickness contains 36 milligram of levonorgestrel alone or without any estrogen. So the implants have been approved for contraceptive protection for 5 years. So that is very important. This is probably giving you a longest coverage in comparison to the other ones. The transdermal patches, it delivers a constant daily doses of ethinyl estradiol 20 microgram and basically another preparation is norelgestromin, which is a synthetic progestin. It is around 150 microgram. The patch applied to the either to the buttock, upper arm or the abdomen, and it is changed once a week for 3 weeks. Week 4 of each month is patch free. The vaginal ring, the intravaginal contraceptive ring that delivers ethinyl estradiol 15 microgram and etonorgestrel to 120 microgram daily is available for alternative hormonal contraception. The ring is inserted on the 5th day of menstruation and removed after 21 days of use to facilitate withdrawal bleeding. So basically the thing is, I mean the concept is being changing, and maybe you never know whether these things will take upper hand and may replace oral contraceptive pills, but it is all depending on the cost effectiveness of the drug as well as the risk benefit ratio. There are certain favorable effects of hormonal contraceptions, which uh, we have discussed initially. Obviously, it prevents accidental pregnancy. It's the primary function of oral contraceptive pills. But with these new type of combinations, the mini pills as well as the combination pills with lower amount of estrogen, what we have done, uh, we are making this the chance of we are reducing actually the chance of ovarian and endometrial cancer, which is probably happening due to estrogen. We are reducing the risk of colorectal cancer, decrease perimenopausal vasomotor symptoms, favorable bone mineral density profile, decrease primary dysmenorrhea, decrease risk of iron deficiency anemia, even sometimes the acne condition, the pimples will improve, the reduced incidence of ectopic pregnancy, and no significant effect on the development of functional ovarian cysts. So these are the favorable effects which are happening with hormonal contraceptions, but there are certain adverse drug reactions which is termed here as side effect of oral contraceptives, and these are being manifested whenever you will take this drug. So adverse effects are of mild to moderate or of considerable risk. The mild to moderate adverse effects are basically GI side effects like anorexia, nausea, vomiting, headache, migraine episodes, the exacerbation of migraine episodes. The GI side effects may be minimized with the use of preparations containing less estrogen. Breakthrough bleeding is very common with progesterone only preparation. The other features include breast tenderness, weight gain, and amenorrhea. Adverse effects with considerable risks are vascular disorders. These serious concerns associated with hormonal contraceptives, even with low dose formulations of estrogen. It increased cardiovascular morbidity, increased risk for strokes and MI. MI means myocardial infarction. Myocardial infarction, the use of contraceptives over a few years may increase the risk of infarction. So that's a problem. And especially in developed countries where these female are obese, hypertensive, smokers, diabetic, and over 60 years and experience menopausal symptoms, they are, if they are taking these pills regularly, then they are having more chance of getting myocardial infarction. Cerebrovascular disease includes stroke, and it's commonly happening with oral contraceptives users, and is age dependent and related to the number of years of their use and their smoking habits. So both the things, I mean the heart and the brain, and these can be involved due to continuous use of these oral contraceptive pills, but usually after a certain age. So in our country is probably more than 45 to 50 years, whereas in the developed country the people are having a different kinds of habits, so they are probably having this kind of tendency after 55, 60, after that. Venous thromboembolism, which is a very common serious adverse drug reaction, includes thrombophlebitis and thromboembolism. These are potential risks and associated with the use of hormone therapy, related more to the estrogen content than progesterone, and not related to age, cigarette smoking, other habits like obesity. So the risk of thromboembolism may commence from the first month of use of oral contraceptives and remain constant for several years. Breast cancer, these are conflicting reports of the risk of breast cancer associated with hormonal use, and it has been shown that there is increased risk of breast cancer with the use of hormone replacement therapy in menopausal ladies. But in other studies, few of the studies found that there is no specific relationship between oral contraceptive pills using guidelines and breast cancer. So there is a little bit of controversy regarding this. There are certain other possible adverse drug reactions which include gallbladder disease, mood swing, nervousness, weakness, fatigue, and the contraindications. Contraindications for the use of most of the combined oral contraceptions are a known presence of history of deep vein thrombosis or pulmonary embolism, previous history of cerebrovascular accident, That means stroke or ischemic heart disease like angina, unstable angina, and myocardial infarction. If patient is having diabetes with microvascular complication, you cannot prescribe oral contraceptive pills to those patients, those people. History of estrogen dependent breast cancer, current pregnancy, you cannot prescribe these pills. Migraines and vascular disease, because it will exacerbate migraine. Smoking more than 20 cigarettes a day, which in colloquial terms called chain smokers. In untreated hypertension, in prolonged immobilization, hepatic disease like hepatic adenoma, active viral hepatitis, and presence of family history or hypercoagulable disorders. So these in brief are about the oral contraceptives. There are different other methods of contraceptions like the mechanical barriers such as male and female condoms, diaphragm, cervical cap to prevent passage of sperm, and use of some spermicidal agents which prevents cervical entry of sperm by attacking the sperm's flagella and body, and it's reducing the motility. So these are all alternative methods of having contraception where you probably not being able to prescribe oral contraceptive pills. So thank you so much for your kind attention. Thank you.